Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Sigurður Ingi Jóhannsson, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure being here with you. We have a very challenging program to follow. We have 2 welcoming addresses and then 9 presentations to follow through the day. And the speed dating program, which I'm curious about. But first of all, I would like to welcome Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Sigurður Ingi Jóhannsson. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor for me to welcome you here to Iceland on the occasion of this 2nd Nordic Marine Innovation Conference. In particular, I welcome the contributions by our friends from Canada and the network of aquaculture centers in Asia Pacific, which is a good reminder of how international the marine sector has become and how vital international collaboration is. Let me start by reminding ourselves that the Nordic cooperation is one of the oldest and most wide-ranging regional partnership in the world, involving Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, and the Faroe Islands, Greenland, and Åland. This collaboration is becoming well recognized around the world as a coherent region with the similar values and social and economic structures. This is very important and, for example, can be seen in the light of the recent analysis by the newspaper The Economist that asked the question why the world should look at the Nordic countries. The heading to this article on the cover was even more impressive: the next supermodel. It is particularly pleasing that this marine innovation program has come to a good start, as marine-related industries are very important in the region. Some 14 different projects are being run, with some 60% of the participants coming from private marine businesses. That indeed is impressive and is a clear testament to the practical focus of the program that not only focuses on marine food production, but sustainability issue and international competitiveness. As a case in point, fish exports by the Nordic countries combined are by the far largest in the world by value, with China in 2nd place. Interestingly, fishery products are globally by far the most international traded food products in the world, with close to 40% of all fish produced entering international trade. Moreover, even more importantly, the food industry in general constitutes a higher share of the national economic of the Nordic countries than that of other rich countries. That also translates into very strong supporting industries, such as manufacturers for food harvesting and processing equipment, as well as active research centers and universities. This, of course, constitutes various, even great or tremendous opportunity in a globalized world that needs more food. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, estimates that the world will need 70% more food to feed its 9 billion people around the middle of this century. Most experts agree that the oceans, the rivers, and the lakes will play a key role in the providing that extra food is land-based production will not be able to meet that demand. The phenomenal growth in aquaculture in recent decades, about 10% per year, shows us that what can be achieved, as almost every second fish on the human food table now originates from aquaculture, or close to 50%. At the same time, science is even ever more conclusively underpinning the excellent quality of marine food, not least the fish oils. Most health authorities now recommend that the people eat at least 2 meals of fish per week. Doing so makes us less prone to heart disease, and it improves neurological development not in the least in infants. All of this, of course, comes as no news for us Icelanders. We have known this for centuries, but it helps us to have the science with us. As a further point in this direction, evidence seems to indicate that the Nordic countries have a diet that is similar in structure and yet different from that of other countries, for example, other European countries, the United States of America and the Mediterranean countries. We could call this the Nordic diet with capital letters. This preliminary result was presented at a conference named Nordic Values in the Food Sector that was held here in Reykjavik 4 years ago. And now there is a new study just presented in the Journal of International Medicine that indicates that the Nordic diet is particularly healthy. If that is so, and one does not have to be a musician to see that, it could, of course, open up various possibilities for the Nordic food sector. Here in Iceland, our fish production mostly comes from wild fish stocks that are abundant around our island. As most of you know, our economy is very dependent on fisheries, and the people of Iceland feel the pinch with their private economy if the fisheries are doing badly. As a consequence, through the years, we have fostered a fisheries culture that involves constant improvement and finding ways to economize. Good examples are how quickly we embraced the motorization of the fishing fleet at the turn of the 20th century, the power block for purse-seining, the computerization of the fish processing, and now robotization of many of the more manual tasks. Iceland now has one of the lowest manpower use in the world per kilogram of fish caught and processed. Technology has actually really had a tremendous impact on the sector in that last decades. As an indication, from 1995 to 2007, the number of fishermen were reduced from 7,000 to 4,700, or by 33%, 1/3. The number of fish workers over the same period was reduced from 9,000 to 3,000, or by 67%, or 2/3. With increasing unemployment problems in the developed world, technological advancement is meeting increased skepticism. But we know from history that it is easy to create new jobs for people, but that is very hard to create new jobs that produce real value that can support the high standard of living that we expect in modern time. Without innovation, there is no progress, and without progress, there is stagnation. In my view, the idea that enough progress has been made in the world is a very dangerous one. There is no way but to keep up on innovation. I wish you a productive conference, have an enjoyable stay here in Iceland, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Sigurður Ingi Jóhannsson. Next welcoming address comes from Geir Oddsson, Senior Advisor at Nordic Council of Ministers. Please.
Chair, Minister, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a senior advisor at the Nordic Council of Ministers Secretariat in Copenhagen, who is the secretariat for one of the oldest political networks in the world, like the minister mentioned. has been in existence for more than 40 years, and we like to say it is the biggest political network in Europe and perhaps in the world. The purpose of intergovernmental cooperation in the Nordic Council of Ministers is to work towards a joint joint Nordic solutions that have tangible positive effects, what we like to call Nordic added value. And the Nordic added value is for the citizens of the Nordic countries, but also beyond. The reason we are here, the Nordic Marine Innovation Program, presents precisely such synergies and is a great example of how Nordic cooperation can add value. The Nordic Marine Innovation Program presents all the best that Nordic cooperation has to offer. The Nordic Council of Ministers, for those that do not know, is put together from many minister councils. It is 11 in total. One of them is the minister council that is involved in the Nordic Marine Innovation Program, the Minister Council of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Agriculture, Forestry and Food. And within that we have present here members of the Committee of Senior Officials of Fisheries and Aquaculture, for which I am the senior advisor. And the core task of that group of senior officials and in general for the cooperation of fisheries and aquaculture within the Nordic countries, it is to promote the sustainable use of living natural resources. And again, that is a main objective of the Marine Innovation Program. I would say that the Nordic Marine Innovation Program presents an opportunity to build innovation networks and to create new and exciting products for existing and new markets. And building on the trends that the Minister mentioned, I think we have a fantastic opportunity with the work that all of you have been doing and that we will hear more about today. The Nordic Marine Innovation Program came about as a bottom-up initiative, but at the same time it is very strongly anchored in Nordic policies and strategies, including the state ministers' political priorities on the Nordic countries leading in green growth, and the new development of the Nordic Bioeconomy Initiative, which we will hear more of in the future, including during the Icelandic presidency within the Nordic Council of Ministers in 2014. The Nordic Bioeconomy Initiative is a new and exciting development focusing on the transformation from a fossil-based to a bio-based society. That is a big task, and we need all the pieces of the puzzle to work together. And here fisheries, aquaculture, and the other primary production industries, of course, play a key role. We cannot go forward with the bio-based society without the bio-based industries. The bioeconomy is coming higher and higher on the political agenda in the Nordic countries, in Europe and globally. And the Nordic region has a great opportunity to be a leader in this development, not only in fisheries and aquaculture, what we're talking about here, but also in the other primary production industries, agriculture, forestry, and food. And it would be an interesting opportunity for the Marine Innovation Program to develop towards servicing the bioeconomy. I can, and the Secretariat, we have the ambition that the Marine Innovation Program will be the template for further work in this area. Ladies and gentlemen, I am as interested as you in hearing the substance, the speakers of this conference, so I'm not going to belabor you any further. The Nordic Council of Ministers Secretariat looks forward to the conference, looks forward to the outcomes of of the Nordic Marine Innovation Program. And we look forward to continuing to support the further development of the program into the future. With that, I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will enjoy the program. Thank you.